Give me a hell yeah. Let me talk to you.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings. Big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, that's my favorite show.
Happy Sunday nights. Preseason game number 3 is in the books. And we are getting closer and closer to opening night. Bring that shit on. How we doing tonight?
What up, Deuce?
Hey.
Hey, Morgan.
I was really confused when you just said preseason game number 3.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that was 2. Like, you're so dumb.
No, 3 in, 3 down, 2 to go.
There you go.
Got Utah and the Clippers coming up. Yeah.
Fun. Can't wait for that, too. Because, yeah,
What?
you know, Utah's supposed to be a really good team this year. So, you know how that goes.
Yeah. Kings next game, they have 27 turnovers again, and people are like, dude, it's over.
I mean, I would be a little. Come on. Come on.
Come on, Carlin. We're getting all set up here. Hope everyone's doing well. Shout out to people hanging out with us. If you're a Kings fan who watched the preseason game on some stream on the NBC Sports app or kings.com/live or League Pass, you are a true champion if you made it through that entire game. And if you made it through that entire game and you're still here, you are the ultimate champion. So we appreciate it. And if you didn't make it watch the game, that's fine. You can hang out with us as we talk about what went down, the lows, the mini lows of this game, and some highs, a couple highs.
Yeah. And, well, that's.
Not many.
But what's fun about this, because it is preseason and, like, the overall outcome doesn't matter. Doesn't, you know, whatever. You still want people to be competitive and do what they're supposed to do. But ultimately, when things started looking good in the beginning of the game, I was excited. And then when the starters were still in throughout the entire game and it wasn't good, I was not excited.
If you've not done it yet, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We appreciate all the new subscribers the last couple of weeks. You guys are the literal best. Shout out to everyone here, including Daniel Epic Air, who said, best part of this game, I got to shoot a free throw after the game on the court. Question is, did you make it? What's up, West Sac Kings fan? Appreciate that. What's up, Manny, Dennis, Johnny, Justin, Ipodicus. I see Jake in there. Always optimistic as Jake. Sarcasm font. What's up, Donald James, Alex in the building, Manny, too legit, living proof, JC. We give you guys all
Give me a hell yeah.
Peg says YouTube exclusive. Why no Twitch? Is Twitch not on? God, we're having some issues with Streamlabs. I got to figure that out. I'll diagnose that tomorrow. I don't know what's going on with that, and it's tough to do it right now.
My favorite part of the game was when they recognized Jason Ross in the beginning of the game.
That was cool.
30 years.
30
so
years. He's
there
the
we go.
man.
There's always something positive to bring out of something.
All right, let's talk about this. Let's not waste any time. Let's just get right into it. Deuce and Mo, we're coming down. 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Go ahead, Morgan. Go ahead.
What?
Well, remember last podcast, I went on this big rant about this looks so great, blah, blah, blah. Let me be irrational. I believe it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And all you said is, yeah, but Deuce, you just need a little more balance. Don't get too high, too low.
Yeah.
Well, this game can humble you fast. The Kings' third preseason game was pretty rough. The starters, I was raving about them the first 2 games. I'm watching the game back 8 times going, oh, this looks so special. And tonight, it was a complete mess against the Blazers. Kings lose preseason game, now 0-3 in the preseason. Are they going to bounce back? Blazers beat them 105-85. So, look, you're right. Don't get too high, too low, right?
So now, come on, dude. Like, it shouldn't take a loss like this to already have to be rational. Like, you do this and I say this to you every year, then everyone in the comments goes, oh, Morgan's the needle to Deuce's balloon. I'm always popping it, all these things. And I'm like, I'm just being rational sports person.
And to be fair, you're probably tonight going, look, don't get too low about this one.
100%. I'm right there. Like, literally, someone came up to me and was like, oh man, this doesn't look, and yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't look good, and it looks even worse that all your starters stayed in the entire game against one of the a team that is projected to be one of the worst teams in the NBA this year. But sometimes the worst teams, there's something about them that they bring to the court that's a little bit different. And with this Portland team, it was physicality. It was outworking the Sacramento Kings, and De'Aaron Fox said that exact thing after the game.
Well, let's talk about this. This game wasn't televised. It was streamed on the NBC Sports app, Kings.com, and then I think League Pass. So I don't know how many people watched on a football Sunday. It's the 3rd preseason game. The game tipped off at 3 p.m. on a day in Sacramento where it's like 78 degrees. So who the hell knows? But that's why we're here, because we watched every single second of it.
You're welcome.
Had to enjoy all 48 minutes. Of course, the game went 2 hours and 15 minutes. It went extra long because all the free throws. Super fun.
Super fun.
Yes, I'm very big on, hey, it's preseason, it's preseason, it's preseason.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just rewind for a second. Let's say the Kings starters looked awesome tonight.
Yeah.
We would all be, we would be like, hey, this is 3 games in a row. This looks really good. This looks pretty special. Like, this can be, it doesn't mean because it didn't go well tonight that it can't be great or anything.
No.
But the reality is, if you're going to get excited when things are looking good, you have to be honest about things when today just looked disjointed. And it's pretty disappointing for what you just mentioned. Like, your starters nearly play 30 minutes. I mean, De'Aaron played under 28. Keon played just under 30. Same with Sabonis. Same with DeRozan. Keegan played just under 28. So, I mean, they got a healthy sample out there tonight, and it just seemed like they were completely out of whack. I'm not going to say, like, oh, my God, I'm concerned, because, yes, it is preseason. I'm going to say slightly a lot, and I'll tell you why I'm slightly concerned with what I saw.
I was
going
to bring up this point. So it's what you told me on the way here, right?
Yeah, I'm slightly concerned because the Kings, triggered is probably the right word. One, because it's like a home game. You play like shit at home against a team that's supposed to be inferior, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But the real thing is more that I look at Portland's roster, I go, Denny Abdia, who they just added, he's 6'9". Jeremy Grant, 6'9". Ayton, 6'11". Kamara, who's just a real son of a bitch, man. He just plays so physical. 6'8". Chris Murray, 6'8". Banton, 6'9". Rupert, 6'7". Jabari Walker, 6'9". Reith, 6'11". The rookie Klingon, 7'2". A lot of size, a lot of length, right? This team played physical. So I'm like, oh, no. This is what we saw last year with matchups against the Sacramento Kings, is teams that had the length, that played with physicality, got the Kings out of whack. And so, yeah, it's a little bit triggering in that way. And that's where I'm slightly concerned. And it goes to the big picture stuff that we have talked about over the offseason. And, you know, the fans have said it. We all see it too. the size can be an issue.
It can, and it can be in. I think when people think of size, they mostly think of like rebounding, and yes, that is a place where it can be concerning. But I think the other place is when you have a team like the Kings, where their offense relies on doing a lot of different things inside the paint, whether that's someone moving without the basketball through the paint, whether that's someone attacking the paint with the ball. The size takes up so much space.
Yep.
There's not as much space. Even when you spread the floor out and your spacing is as good as it's going to get, sometimes that size is still going to take up enough space to alter things for you in your offense. Now, when that happens, you still have to remain aggressive. You still have to make sure you're getting those paint touches. And what those paint touches will do, even if some of these lengthier guys can recover quicker and cover more ground, you still got to do everything the right way, and then you have to do it the right, like almost perfect.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's not the greatest defensive team, that size, that type of physical play. It's gonna screw with the Kings at times, and that's why they just got to make sure that they remain playing their offense, their game.
Yeah, and it's tough too when you miss some shots. I mean, they missed some shots around the rim, and I thought like some of the turnovers they did have, like some of them were forced by the Blazers. You have to give them credit. Like I said, I thought from a defensive standpoint, they were blowing up screens, they were bumping the Kings, they were being physical. You could tell Tamani Kamara was irritating the shit out of De'Aaron Fox. There's one play he was bumping him a lot, fouled him, and Fox kind of like pushed him off of him. And then the next play, Fox just absolutely blew by him for a dunk at the rim. But it threw the Kings off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were forcing passes. They were trying to go for plays that just were not there at all. And that's where it's slightly concerning. And I see some people in the chat. The chat can get kind of wild. It is preseason game number 3. But for as good as they looked the first 2 preseason games as a starting lineup, they look like completely opposite. Here's a stat for you, Morgan.
Oh, I love a good stat.
They had 8, the starting lineup had 8 total turnovers in the first 2 preseason games. They had 4 in the first one, 4 in this last one. In fact, against Golden State, it was 17 assists from the starters and just 4 turnovers. That's an unbelievably great number for preseason, where it's traditionally a little sloppy. Well, tonight, the starters had 14 turnovers in one game. The Kings, as a team, ended up with 27. Now, some of those were bad passes, but some of those were offensive fouls as well for Sacramento.
And I know some people could, well, they did play more minutes, so, it allowed them more. No. It's how the ball was turned over. And I think, there's a few times where I would be annoyed, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, maybe they're testing their boundaries. They're trying, like, for example, Domas was trying a few times to get that soft little lob pass over whoever was guarding Keegan, let's say. He did a lot of that in the first in the first game, especially against the Warriors.
Yeah.
And the Warriors did a good job adjusting. And now this game, Sabonis is like, okay, let me try that again on the back door, the little floater pass, whatever. And it's just not the same when you're going up against the size. And so it's just really adjusting your offense to the matchup that is there. And I just think this season's going to be all about matchups for the Sacramento Kings, where they have to be able to adjust matchup by matchup. And that doesn't mean completely change your identity, but part of your identity needs to be the team that is the fastest, is the most physical, even if a team is trying to slow you down.
And I thought defensively tonight, there was, they had moments where they were aggressive, trying to go after steals that looked good early.
I love that early.
Yeah, but then it became an issue because, like, Scoot Henderson, man, people calling him a bust after year 1, people shitting on the kid because he's a young player and he didn't perform well last year. I cannot call a player a bust after 1 season in the NBA.
That's fair.
And he had a rough game last game for them. I think he was 4-16. So, he's getting clowned a lot. But I saw some explosiveness from him in this game tonight. And the point is, I thought there were times where they were getting penetration and Sabonis would come over and help.
Yeah.
And he would have a great contest at the rim. In fact, a couple of times the Kings defense was able to recover and force a miss. The problem is the big that Sabonis had to leave, whether that's Donovan Clingan or that's DeAndre Ayton. Well, someone's got to help. Someone's got to put a body on that guy, those guys who are long anyway, and get them out of the paint, because it's pretty tough when Sabonis has to come over and help, force a miss, and then, oh, here's an offensive rebound and an easy putback because Sabonis is up dealing with the penetration. And that puts you, again, that's a size thing.
It's definitely a size thing, but if you have the lack of size, what else can you do in those situations to be there quicker and put a body on someone? And again, it's all about altering what they're trying to execute. It's the same things that you see a lot of teams do, a lot of the bad teams, even like last year, due to the Sacramento Kings. They game plan, they go, okay, well, if we take this away from them, then great. And I think with the Kings, with some of these bigger teams this season, it's going to be, okay, well, how can we alter the way that they use their size? You know, you just have to switch up the way that you're going to defend, you're going to move, the way that you're going to do some things. And
that's why I think pace is so important for this team. And, you know, it's not just like from a fast break perspective, it's getting into your early offense and getting the movement. Having these guys, if it's especially a bigger team, like on their heels a little bit, forcing them to run. The one like bright spot, Sacramento had 32 fast break points. Crazy number, insane number. And they were leaking out left and right. The transition defense from Portland at times was just putrid in this game. But, you know, Mike Brown's big on having his guys sprint to the corners because it creates space. And he complimented his guys for how they, during the pregame today, how they did that against the Golden State Warriors and that create opportunity. We saw that again tonight, which that was encouraging.
Yeah, and Jordan McLaughlin talked about it after the game and just talked about how at practice they have dots in the corners and dots at the top, you know, because like if you're sprinting to your spots, you're sprinting to your corners, where just making sure you're keeping that spacing. And there was a lot of positivity from that, especially in transition, especially early on. I was texting you at times going, oh, this defense leading to this transition offense for Keegan, you know, Sabonis would just push it up with the pass, boom, you know, someone would leak out, go. And Keon with a lot of different fast break dunks, I felt like early on too.
Same with Keegan.
Yeah, yes, that's what I said with Sabonis passing it up to him. And so it's like there was those positive things when it came to scoring in transition, but you got to make sure, you know, you've seen how their offense can work and it can be beautiful. But if size is going to fuck with that offense when you have that many good tools, like come on, like you can be better than that.
No, they can for sure, but it's
paint touches.
Look, it's going to be a factor against matchups. It's just the reality. I mean, we've said that the Kings needed to address that.
Yeah.
And they haven't, right? Like you're in a tough spot. You were not big enough last year at times, and it's kind of the same thing. So, you know, I think their thinking is we're going to have a potent offense and we'll play adequate enough defense that like we're going to be tough to stop and we're going to win a lot of games. But, you know, when we start talking about raising expectations and trying to win playoff series, it's going to be interesting to see how they maneuver through this. It really is, because tonight you saw that. Now they are missing some size off the bench. Trey Lyles is still out. Like that's some size. It's some much needed size. A guy who's very good at crashing the offensive glass and playing physical and getting the body on somebody. But, you know, there's more and more teams like the Blazers. They're like, geez, how many 6'9" guys do you need?
Yeah. And I mean, and I know whenever we talk about size too, it's also making sure that those guys with size have talent and can be capable on both ends of the floor as well. And I think that's why too, when people do look at Portland's roster, they look at a lot of the negative, but yeah, having that size, especially against some of these teams that it feels like they're going to be playing small ball 5 or have a smaller matchup, it should be interesting. Yeah,
I don't love like post game, you know, you mentioned De'Aaron Fox. He said that they got outworked on both offense and defense, and that they had a lot of unforced turnovers. And then Mike Brown says they played harder. I'm just like, you should have. I understand preseason's a different flow, and it's about, you know, getting ready for the season, right? But like, you've been itching to play other teams,
Yeah.
right? I mean, this is it's opportunity. It's opportunity to get some cohesiveness before the real thing starts. Where in the West, you're playing tough games every single night.
If you can reflect, hopefully, like on a mistake like this, and it's like they played harder or they outworked us. And last year, what it felt like we saw was that mistake became a habit because it would happen, and it's like, are you guys not coming ready to play against some of these worst teams in the NBA? Because you can't do that, and they've talked about that in the offseason and media day and all these things. Like, we can't do that. So if they got a little taste of it tonight, I hope they never want to feel this way again, where they are saying someone worked harder than them. Because I also at times, I almost disagree with that at times, because I thought the way that De'Aaron was getting up in guys, the way that everyone was super active with their hands defensively, it just felt like where they were really getting outworked. It's like the Kings weren't doing a good enough job trying to still play their game, attacking the paint, right?
Kings lose this preseason game by 20, 105-85, but the Blazers were up by as many as 33 points. And again, yes, third preseason game. Blah, blah, blah. And I always like to play this game. Hey, how'd the Kings do last year in the preseason? We don't remember a goddamn thing about it, right? We don't remember how teams do in the preseason. But I do remember what I just saw.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like,
I'll never forget this game.
It's not like, hey, your starters played like 15 minutes tonight and you got down because some young guys, and hey, it doesn't matter. It's just your starters played like almost 30 minutes and it looked really rough, and you're like, oh no, please don't tell me this could be a theme. But we'll see what they look like coming up against Utah.
Yeah. I mean,
they got some good looks from three too. And not enough from three. They only took 28, which is a low number by NBA standards. Kings want to shoot like 43s a game. They were 5 of 28. They had great looks.
Well, see, they had great looks, but also when they do have a game where they're doing a better job attacking the paint, getting that paint touch, you're going to generate so many more open looks from threes that you got not chuck up there, but you have to be willing to take. Can't be passive. You got to make sure that number gets up. Yeah. It's one of those things where I'm probably, again, more on the side of like, oh, well, it's preseason, not concerned. But it's the same thing that I felt in the first two games. When I liked something, I also wasn't like, oh yeah, this is the answer to the Western Conference. Sure. I can get excited about. There's things I literally got excited about tonight.
Yeah, they missed some good looks too. Like DeMar.
Yeah.
Well, he'd been really efficient.
Yeah.
In his first couple of games, and tonight 4 of 10. He had some open looks he just missed. They missed some stuff around the rim where I'm like, how did you miss that?
And then Jordan just coming in there and playing. I love that.
Jordan McLaughlin, who the Kings signed over the offseason from Minnesota, veteran backup point guard, he sprained his ankle like a week before camp. So, we haven't seen him. There's one encouraging element out of that. Like, he ends up playing in this game, and De'Aaron Fox said after the game that he only had like one practice where he went 5-on-5. And I went, ooh, do you think like we could maybe see Herter come back before opening night?
Well, he was shooting around before the game, which was just really nice to see. And then as soon as we saw Jordan, we're like, ooh, so Jordan's probably playing tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan did say after the game too, just basically when he first got in there, just trying to get his feet under himself again and just like understand, oh yeah, okay, I got it. I felt legs felt a little heavy and everything. And then it just came to him and it was nice. He does all those little energy things. Like I think at the end of the second quarter, even when he stole the ball back and tried getting that little shot up or whatever there at the end, still remaining aggressive, especially when they were going into the half with a shitty end to it.
I liked what I saw from McLaughlin. I thought he came in and he pushes the pace. He runs the floor. Like Morgan was talking about, you want to run to your corners. That's big with the Kings offense. That happened once off a turnover. He ran to the corner, got a wide open three, and he buried it. I thought defensively, it's when I stood next to him at media day, I was like, wow, I am taller than you. And he's 5'11".
Yeah.
He actually, shout out to him. during his press conference tonight, he mentioned he's 5'11".
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, he might be the first 5'11" guy in civilization to be like, I'm 5'11". He did not round up to 6 foot. That always happens.
I have a tall friend that she puts on her dating app, like I forget the exact line on Hinge, but like, let's have a conversation about you saying that you're 6 foot, but you're actually 5'9" or whatever it is, because she's like 6 feet tall. And it's so true. There's just so many men out there that cannot admit that their height when it's under 6 foot. And why? Short kings live on.
Because it's a thing. Like,
No, and it shouldn't be. Again, it's a stupid thing that society.
Some people don't like dating
That's
men who
fine.
are shorter.
That's fine. Then don't be attracted to each other and don't date each other. But society puts this thing like it's like, oh.
So
it's
you're saying be a short king.
be a
Embrace
short
it.
king,
Yeah.
dude. Like be you. Be confident, honey. Yeah.
And guess what? J Mac, Jordan McLaughlin, he's 5'11". And he's proud of that shit.
Yes.
Anyway, the point being
Oh,
is
yeah.
he's an undersized guy, but he's long and he picks up full court. He's athletic. I like him. And, he's going to play in that Davion Mitchell role of last year, I think, or play like, 12 to 15 minutes a night.
Yeah.
I like him.
One of the fast breaks or transition, he ran to the corner and he got a corner three.
I said
and
that.
And what I was going to say, and we saw before the game him making a lot of those threes.
Yeah, yeah.
And his shot is
He
very.
shot 47% from three last year with
Yeah.
Minnesota on like 1.6 attempts a game or something like that.
Yeah.
And that the year before he was at like 30 something. So he took a big jump
It's
last
an
year.
interesting release too.
Yeah.
If you look at the mechanics, and it's like I feel like the ball rotates, but it's not flinging off of his fingertips. It's just how it leaves his hand. It's very interesting. Anyway, it goes in. So who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? So when I said I'm slightly concerned, just from a size perspective, no, just like some of the same issues from last year creeping up, where you're just
The usual.
do you feel is slightly concerned too strong? I feel like that might be too strong.
I don't. Here's why. One, you say a lot of things that are like so dramatic and whatever. So, where's the lie? Find the lie. Thank you. I'm glad you stopped talking. So anyway, so when you say slightly concerned, absolutely, dude, you're triggered from being traumatized from last year, and that's okay. And guess what? It's not like the team is a completely different team. There was tweaks to this team. And you talk about the challenges that they still have or they lack when it comes to size. And so it's fair to be like, I'm slightly concerned, but also it is preseason.
Okay.
What?
On a good note,
What?
speaking of size, there are two-way guys, the undrafted guys,
Oh, yeah.
Isaac Jones and Isaiah Crawford.
Big.
I'm intrigued. They're both long.
Yep.
They're both long. I think Crawford's 7'3" wings. Excuse me. Crawford's 7 foot wingspan.
Okay.
And then Isaac Jones 7'3" wingspan.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought tonight I was taking some notes when Crawford got some run in the second quarter, and he changed shots. Like,
Yes.
I mean, Portland's pushing in transition, and he was there at the rim. I think he forced 3 misses at the rim in this game.
Well, defensively, something we've pointed out in all of these games with him, and it's very noticeable. But then it also just his feel for the game. He had a backdoor pass. I think it was to DeMar. I think DeMar was cutting. I think that's what it was. And Crawford had this beautiful, like sharp bounce pass. To DeMar on the back door. And I was just like, oh, you can tell he has a good feel for the game. And by the way, as a two-way guy trying to figure out your role and what you're supposed to do, and just hopefully with some of these opportunities and minutes that you keep gaining confidence in this experience.
And he's listed at 6'6" with a 7 foot wingspan. He's very long. He had you talked about one of the passes. He also had DeMar took a 3, and he had a big time offensive rebound where he crashed from the corner. One element Kings are doing well.
Yep.
They really want to crash from like the weak side corners on shot attempts, and Keegan did it once tonight. That led to a second chance opportunity. They missed the shot, and then Jordan crashed and got a third chance opportunity for Sacramento. But anyway, Isaiah Crawford is intriguing. Like, I'm like, there's something there. He played like 5 years of college ball. He has good feel for the game. I think he can knock down the three. You can't bank on a two-way having some major impact, but when you start thinking about what the Kings need from a size perspective and a length perspective, like you think about Isaac Jones and Isaiah Crawford, like, God, if they can turn out to be something productive and can give you something, that could be massive.
I mean, of course. And that's something we say about two-way guys.
I know.
Every
but
single year.
It's not like
Every single year.
I said this to you before the game. No disrespect to our dear friend Bob Woodard. Who could forget Big Bad Bob, Robert Woodard, who like everyone fell in love with because like, oh, wings.
Look how muscly he is.
Dude, he's ripped. He's long. If he could just knock down shots. Robert didn't feel like it. The measurables were there, but you never looked at him and felt like he had great instincts on the floor.
Yep.
Like the feel wasn't there. Very raw. I think that's the best way to put it. Where I feel like Isaac Jones, I'm like, he's got some good feel. There was another play tonight. We saw it against Golden State too, where he gets the ball and the double team comes or the help comes and he makes the right decision to drop off to Alex Len, led to a bucket. That was nice. And same with Isaiah Crawford. Like, oh, he can handle the ball a little bit. He can bring it up.
You can develop someone that has that instinct, right? Like has that IQ and I feel like anyone that's coming under Mike Brown's system understands the type of discipline it will take. And even Mike Brown talked about the discipline before the game when he was talking about guys running into the corners and just doing all the little things. Yeah. And every time I always bring up to Deuce when I was on a JUCO team that ended up being runner-ups in California.
Choked in the championship.
Not choked, but the thing is, like, I would not say our team had the best individuals in the state of California in JUCO basketball, but the amount of discipline that came from this coach and under her umbrella, it was like we all did it. And when you do it as a team and what you can accomplish as a team and it's coached the right way, managed the right way, it's incredible. And so, so when you do see some of these pieces where there's size too, and you're just like plugging it into a system that can really work, it can be exciting.
Shout out to everyone watching this live right now. You guys are basketball sickos.
Give me a hell yeah.
Sacramento.
Sickos.
Full of basketball sickos.
Yes.
Third preseason game. Your team lost by 20 and you're here with us, hanging out, chatting about it in the chat, voting in the awesome poll question that I wrote, which was, is it gone? Oh, here it is. Is this the worst preseason loss in modern NBA history? 52% of people who voted say yes. 10% say no. 37% say stop it, Deuce. Also, let's get some super chat love. Oleg donates $5 saying, I'm so glad this was a preseason game.
Same.
Yeah. Could you imagine getting your asses kicked by Portland in the regular season?
Yes.
Yeah, it happened last year, actually.
Give me a hell yeah.
No. Hell no.
Also, John C. with the super chat. How do you suggest we keep Boogie Ellis, promote it to a two-way and give Boogie promote to a two-way, or give Boogie the 15th spot?
Okay.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess we'll just see how it plays out. I mean, I think, right now your two-way guys are Isaac Jones, Isaiah Crawford, and Mason Jones. Mason actually had he played near the end of the game and actually had some nice defensive moments.
Yeah.
So I think he needed that because the last couple of games have been so rough for him. So I don't know. And then two ways aren't guaranteed, right? So Crawford and Isaac Jones are like locks to me. They'll be around one way or another.
Agreed.
I don't know about Mason's opportunity. Who knows? Like he was with them. Maybe they go, oh, we'll give Boogie that spot, keep Mason on Stockton or whatever. I don't know how that works. But, even if the risk is if you really do like Boogie and you waive him and he agrees to, he's in Stockton because you have the G League rights, that's fine, but any team could then sign him. Any NBA team could sign him. You
Yeah.
don't have his pro rights. So that's where it's challenging. Like if you really like the guy, then you might want to keep him around in some regard. But on this specific team, like he to me, he's just more of a Stockton guy at this point. You know, I just where does he crack the rotate? Like Jordan's playing.
Dude, we
a
talked
backup.
about this last game, and it's like I don't even think it's like, oh, something could happen with an amazing game that changes anyone's mind or anything.
Yeah. We should mention that tonight's podcast presented by our friends over at Mother. Dude, if you need to go to a restaurant that has amazing food, local. We're talking about local, Sacramento to its core. You need to check out Mother, located at 2319 K Street in downtown Sacramento. It's the perfect spot to go before a game, or even if it's not a game day. You got a nice little afternoon brunch, go there.
I mean, you
go to
could-
dinner.
any of the things, but also before games, you can pregame with your mother. So before every single Sacramento Kings game, home and away.
Through October.
No, it's actually going to be longer even. So don't even say
Breaking news at this hour?
breaking news at this hour. Oh, whoa, yeah, it's going to even be longer, and you're gonna save 50% off all drinks.
Any drink.
Wine, beer, drinks, drank, pregame with your mother, and it's just in the best location. Just make sure to check out Mother. Oh, and you can order online too, which I do all the time.
Ooh, mothersacramento.com. We're also presented by our friends over at Golden One Credit Union. Yeah.
We are one.
Yes.
We are one.
Golden One Credit Union believes together we are one. That's why they've set out to create a bright financial future for all Californians. Kings fans, let me just tell you, this
What?
one's for you.
Oh.
Golden One is the official credit union of the Sacramento Kings. If you join today, you can get awesome deals and Kings perks.
Yeah, up to 50% off Kings home games through Golden One's online discount ticket portal.
Yeah, 15% off merch too when you use your Golden One card at the team store. Plus, they have contests during games. You wave your card and you're like, oh, you get a seat upgrade.
Oh, so just by having a card and being a member, you get an upgrade in your seats. You're welcome because we are one.
That's how you win as one. Become a member at goldenone.com. We should get to our Simply the Best
Player of the game.
Who would be your simply the best player of the game for this one?
Jordan
huh?
McLaughlin.
Wow, without hesitation.
Without hesitation, because I can't really pick anybody.
Who would be some other candidates?
Okay.
I feel like it's in the preseason. I know I do this a lot when we have a player of the game.
Yeah.
I'll pick the opposing team. I'm not afraid. I would probably give it to Scoot Henderson if this was a regular season game because Scoot had 17 points, 7 assists. I thought he was explosive. I thought he played physical, got to the rim. He looked fast. That's exciting to see. But in preseason, we can't. Sorry, opposing teams, you don't get it. I think we have to go to a bright spot and let's say we agree.
Yeah, Jordan. Welcome back.
McLaughlin. Another candidate would have been Keegan. I think he had some nice moments again. But Jordan McLaughlin in his Kings debut had 10 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 of 6 shooting. He was 2 of 3 from downtown. Simply the best player of the game, presented by Northwest Exteriors. Morgan, why should people? I mean, you're on TV. You're in commercials.
Thank you.
Why should people go and trust Northwest?
I was waiting for you to mention that. Well, one, because we have the windows right here in the Deuce and Mo podcast studios.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's not all. We have the HVAC system, a Northwest Exteriors HVAC system now in the Deuce and Mo podcast studios. So guess what? When it was 100 and whatever in October, you just crank that baby up and, oh, didn't you say that money was also being saved?
Well, yeah, more efficient. You got to trust the experts at Northwest because they are local. They don't subcontract out to some place in Southern California.
Nope.
All the people who work for that company have worked there forever.
Yep.
They have a family. And that's what's so cool about it.
A family.
Highly encouraged if you're thinking about, hey, man, I got to get my HVAC service. Well, they've got deals for that. Or I need a new HVAC system. They've got deals for that. You need windows. They've got deals for that. You need to check out their website, northwestexteriors.com, Morgan.
And I just feel stupid I didn't do any of this earlier. And like the amount of suffering I went through with being too cold in this place or too hot in this place. And so, yeah, if you want to be safe, to Northwest Exteriors.
You know why? Because they are
Simply the best. Trust Northwest.
Can the Kings beat a
good
team or a bad
That team. Yeah.
Oh my
Portland's looking
I have
good.
my jingle ready. Anyway, yeah.
Do you ever have your jingle ready?
I nailed simply the best. Trust Northwest.
It took you a year, but I'm proud.
I'm in form.
I'm in.
Let's get to some comments from the basketball sickos. Let's see here.
I love on a Sunday. You guys
Gregory
rock.
suggesting that Tumani Kamara should be the player of the game. You know, I want to talk about Kamara for a second. I know he's on the other team. He's tough, and he showed that last year. He's one of those players that if he's not on your team, you hate him. I didn't like him tonight. I got mad at him tonight, and then I saw De'Aaron get mad at him. He's a chirper. He's physical.
He's tough.
He's tough.
Yeah.
I like him.
Well, I text you saying he's tough, and then you text me back kind of shitting on him because I felt like you were so mad. Would you like to read what you said?
Let's see here.
Yeah.
I think I said he's a punk.
But make it a B word with an itch at the end of it.
He
Like,
is.
what a dick.
But if he was in Sacramento, I'd be like, dude's a dog. Love that guy. Dog.
Yeah, Deuce was just pissed. That was funny.
Hey, and I did like the fact that Fox got a little irritated by it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is good. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, look, it's not like they weren't competitive, and it's not about like, oh, at least they weren't competitive. It's just it's one of those things where I didn't feel this sheer disappointment. Maybe because it was a preseason game, but I also validate anyone that is like, that's concerning that the starters were in all game.
Malik Monk came back tonight. We
He
didn't mention that
did.
after missing last game due to personal reasons. So that was great to see Malik back. He was 0 for 5 from downtown. Someone in the chat, Keegan Murray watch, saying, we got to have some 3-pointers. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Morgan. So first game, the Kings were 7 of 27.
Okay.
25%, 25.9. Last game against the Golden State Warriors, 13 of 46, 28%.
Okay.
Ish. And then tonight, 5 of 28, just under 18%. Any level of concern?
Slightly concerned. No,
I'm not.
I'm not either. I think
I can tell you why.
okay, here's my theory on it. My theory is you can get a 3 off, right? Like I'm not acting like it's easy, but this team, especially that could live and die by the 3 last year, could easily get a 3 off. I think it's more about executing all the other things and like tweaking things in the preseason with all the different actions they're trying to run. I could be wrong. That could be a stupid
I feel like they've
theory,
gotten good
but-
looks. I feel like they've gotten good looks though when they have shot.
But what do you think about that theory though? That like even whether it's the staggered screen, because when you're pulling off one of those actions and it's the staggered screen on your own teammates in practice, they know the staggered screen is coming.
Sure.
Like if you set a good screen, obviously you can still stop somebody, but it's still just difficult until you start practicing that against some other opponents, and I think that's why they're really
fair.
just being
I
drilling it.
Yeah, I mean it's also like I'm a sample size guy. It's 3-game sample,
I'm a sample size
and
guy.
you're missing like some 3-point shooting without Trey and without Kevin, and Malik didn't play last game, right? So like someone like Keegan, I think is 1 of 8 so far from 3-point land. I would personally like to see him get into some type of rhythm before the season starts, because I know his 3-point numbers dipped. They were still fine last year. He was just, his rookie year was at a different level, right?
Yeah.
Over 40%. I just ideally for me with Keegan, it'd be nice to have him at 37, 38% throughout the season. Same with Herter, getting him back in the fold, knocking down some shots. I think Jordan McLaughlin is a guy that can knock down threes. That should help. So no, I'm not concerned about it. Would I like to see some going? Sure. But I'm more about them like
You say
getting.
you like to see some go in, but no. What about attempts though? That's the number I thought you were throwing out to me.
Well, the attempts too, for sure. I mean, so first game tonight, only 28. Last game against Golden State, they got 46 up. That's a healthy number. And then the first game against the Warriors, they took 27. Teams are going to run them off the line too. Like they're going to do everything they can. But I also, think the Kings have to do everything in their power to make sure they are getting those paint touches. That matters.
Yep.
So we'll see what it looks like. But no, I'm not concerned at this point about the 3-point shooting. Just in case you guys were wondering.
We were all so curious.
Kings' next preseason game is coming up on Tuesday in Utah. Then they wrap up the preseason Thursday in LA against the Clippers at the Intuit Dome, their new building down there. And then the Kings don't play until the next Thursday.
The 24th.
So, I mean, they have a lot of time off in between the final preseason game and the regular season matchup against Minnesota opening night in Sacramento. Final couple of preseason games. Is there something specific you would like to see?
Not what we saw tonight.
Okay.
I mean, it's like I don't. And when I say that, it's like yes, the good that was in that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed. I wouldn't mind maybe seeing them take more threes consistently in these last two games, right? Because we saw under 30, over 40, under 30. Maybe if we can get back to that just 40, the high 30s, 40 range.
To me, it's all about balance. That's what I want. I want the balance because I felt like last year it was like we're just jacking up. And I understand the whole let it fly thing, but it's like, no, do the other things too.
I was just about to say though, don't just take any three. All threes are not created equally. And it goes back to exactly what De'Aaron said after this game. It was getting the paint touches because those will generate a certain type of three that if you're missing it and having a bad shooting night, it's going to happen at times, right? But for the most part, if you're doing that for an entire team, especially a team that is very capable of shooting the three, then you should see success.
What was I going to say? I know what I was going to say. That, I'm blanking right now.
Again?
Yeah.
You're forgetting?
No, because I got distracted by a note, and I was like, oh, should I mention that? Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, now I feel like you should just mention the note.
The note, I had, talking about Isaac Jones. I forgot to mention this because I talked about his drop-off. Another thing I liked is he's a guy that plays a little more physical. There was one play late in this game, the fourth quarter, that he ripped the ball away from Klingon.
Love it.
Klingon, he just ripped the ball away, and it led to a Crawford three on the other end. And those are the things I want to see. It's like I want to see those young guys look more comfortable because if you start, I think if Crawford and Isaac Jones can give you something, it would be very significant. So to see these guys, and I like them playing Crawford with some of the main guys. I like seeing Isaac Jones, little samples of that. We should note this too.
What?
So Boogie Ellis, Skal Labissiere, Jalen McDaniels, Terry Taylor, and Broderick Thomas did not play in this game. Mike Brown did say before the game, hey, don't look too much into rotations tonight.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
His point, because I had asked him, are you going to play the starters a lot? He said, don't read in anything, still experimenting and figuring out minutes. His point was off our bench, in this season, we're going to be playing Alex and Malik and Jordan and eventually with Trey when he gets back.
Yeah.
But we're trying, we're looking at different things. We're going to put Colby Jones in some lineups, I'm sure,
So basically you're just in these last two preseason games you're looking for guys doing all the little things, ripping the ball away. When I say that, but
I just want to see
mean.
those guys look good. But I do want to see the starters bounce back. I want to see, what I'd like to see against Utah?
What would you
I would like to see the starters get off to a great start. By halftime, Kings are up 15-20. If the starters end up playing heavy minutes, and then just don't play the rest of the game.
But
That's kind of what I wanted out of tonight.
But I'm not gonna lie. It being preseason basketball,
Yeah.
I love seeing the starters in there throughout. I'm more intrigued to be focused on the game and what's in front of me And I mean, but honestly, even when like Crawford's out there, I'm intrigued and I want to see what he's going to add. Same with Isaac Jones.
That's the question I was going to ask you and the chat.
He remembered.
If you guys have been listening to this whole thing, does it sound like we're being a little like over the top with our like, being slightly concerned? I'm like very.
You already asked me something about slightly concerned,
No,
so
but-
this is obviously something you're very insecure about.
I'm being sensitive. I'm like, oh my God, are we spending way too, like, is this laughable how much we were talking about like the third preseason game? Like, this is a slightly concerned the size. Like, are we doing too much here? Like, am I going to look back at this?
Maybe.
I'm going to write this game down.
Okay.
Because I want to remember like halfway through the season, if like things are going in a great direction, like, do you remember when we spent 27 minutes talking about what Portland did well against Sacramento? Am I doing too
In
much?
game 3 of preseason.
Because I don't want. My point is, I don't want to come across like I'm like in some weird panic at all,
Or that you're like,
or I'm angry.
really full blown breaking down
Yeah.
a third preseason
Okay.
game, like it's the end of the world because they lost by
Okay.
20. Yeah, I mean, maybe because I know. Oh, good. Some people are saying no. Someone says yes.
We're trash.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah, no, and I mean, here's the thing. This is how Deuce and I are just talking about it, even without microphones in front of our face.
Jordan says, doesn't sound like you guys are concerned enough. And guess what? There are some people that are like, dude, they're so soft on them.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just saying it because
Yeah,
Jordan
yeah.
says it doesn't sound like you guys are concerned
No,
enough.
that's funny. But yeah, no, I think again, I even when we were coming into this podcast, I was like, God, like how much do you really talk about this game? You know, because there weren't so many specific plays that stood out that I was excited to talk about.
No, there
And-
wasn't. It was ugly. 27 turnovers will
But
do
then,
that.
and then then if you talk about a specific turnover, you do justify it a little bit, like, oh, it's preseason, and I do believe that is fair because that is what training camp preseason is for. And now if we're getting into game 15 and you're seeing these same type of turnovers or seeing them still have the concern of not being able to get a paint touch against some bigger physical team, absolutely you can be slightly concerned and or more so concerned.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, Kings' next opportunity is coming up on Tuesday in Salt Lake City against the Utah Jazz. So another chance to figure your shit out. Around the league today,
Damn.
we saw Minnesota take on the Knicks.
Yeah.
And you know what that means? Donte DiVincenzo back in New York. And there was so much talk about how he was feeling. And there was one report that suggested he was not happy after some of the Knicks trades because he felt like he was being demoted a little bit.
Yeah.
He went on the record today saying that was not true. He loves the fans, blah, 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 blah. But this was Dante's first opportunity to play his former team. Cat's first opportunity to play his former team. Julius Randle did not play. And there was a couple of interesting things. Like Donte at one point was doing some jawing and people did lip reading. And it looks like he was telling Tom Thibodeau that that's what happens when they let you run the show. He was doing a lot of jawing.
You saying that to Tips?
That's what social media was saying. Okay. And then it gets more interesting because after the game, him and Jalen Brunson's dad, who's an assistant coach, had to be separated.
And the last game of the road trip was on Wednesday.
Sorry, I didn't mean to play the audio. They had to be separated. There was some going back and forth about something, and maybe it was about that moment. And Jalen kind of comes over and like has his arm around Donte, like it's all good, you know, chill.
It's my dad.
Then Rick Brunson comes back over.
Damn.
And it gets hot. Now, it should be noted that Rick and Donte have a good relationship, and maybe it's just two passionate guys going at it.
Sure.
But definitely, like, god damn.
I mean, that's all I think it really is. You know, and like, I shouldn't speak on anything because I really don't know, but like maybe because of the relationship Brunson and Donte DiVincenzo had, and like that obviously Coach Brunson played a big part in his life, you know, especially in his like basketball life. And so there could be emotions and passion in that. I don't know, but I want to know. That's tea.
I feel
want
bad.
to know.
I feel bad for Donte a bit because you think about his journey in his career, right? starts with Milwaukee, and then he has all the injuries, lands in Sacramento for a second and a half, then goes to the Warriors, kind of rehabilitates, like he stays healthy, rehabilitates his career, gets to New York, it's exciting, signs a 4-year deal, like I'm with my boys, right?
Yeah.
Nova Knicks, we're here, and they have that magical run last year where he was huge for them.
And then they had
Massive.
Bridges in the off season,
Yeah,
so then
and
you're
it's
even
like, we're
more.
all together. Let's
Yeah.
do a podcast, and then you get traded out of nowhere the day before camp. It's jarring, and so I'm sure there's some feelings, and like I don't blame him. Like, especially when I'm sure last year when he's making big time threes at Madison Square Garden during the playoffs, he's thinking like, dude, I'm home. Like I vibe here. This is the Mecca.
Oh, I feel you. I
love it.
think it's fair to like absolutely humanize the situation, and for some
Yeah.
people that are just going to say like it's the business, it's what, and it's like you sure, but I mean they're humans at the end of the day, and they feel all the feels, and especially when you are happy with where you are and you don't have the choice, it can hurt a little. Ugh, I mean I would hate that. Like, yeah. I love Sacramento, and so I would be so sad if I like had to ever go somewhere.
If you got traded.
Someone traded me. This is what happens when you run the show.
NBC Sports California has traded Morgan Reagan to.
NBC.
She's actually going to Univision. You better learn Spanish fast.
Oh no, I don't know any Spanish.
How's she gonna fit in their system? We're like breaking it down. I don't know. She doesn't even know Spanish. She only knows one language. She's an idiot.
She better get on Duolingo fast.
Fast. Dude, I did Duolingo this summer.
I know.
And like that app, I think I saw an SNL like clip on social media about it, and it's so accurate, dude. Like, it's great in so many ways, but like the way they try to keep you engaged, it's like
they
it's
empower you,
all
though.
about the streak.
Yeah.
And if your like streak is on the line, like, hey, I've done it 6 days in a row, and it's like you're approaching like the 7-day ending, they're like, where are you? In your email, and they're sending you notifications. It makes you feel so bad.
Oh.
And I had like a 35-day streak, and I messed up one time and I didn't do it. And now I like don't want to go back because I'm like scared of the emails. It's so they are insane with
Hey,
like their
no.
reminders.
That shouldn't. I don't think they're putting pressure on you.
Oh no,
I
they
think,
gamified that shit.
Okay. I think they just are empowering you to put in the work and do it right. I mean, that's why, like, we literally tell people subscribe and turn on your notifications for Deuce and Mo podcast. So
We
that-
never say turn on your notifications, actually.
do we not? I just
You know
said
why
that
I don't say
tonight.
that? You know why I don't say that? Because I never do that with anything. I don't want stuff popping up on my phone all the time. It's annoying.
But like, with the important stuff, like I don't even leave on my text notifications. But when there's like, when
I mute any group chat, muted all the time, because when I look at my phone, I'm like 37 messages.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want it, and
No, I
sometimes
get
I'm
it.
like, I don't want to participate in the group chat today.
you don't need to though. That's the thing. It's just like Duolingo. There's no pressure. It's just encouragement. Like even those conversations with friends in a group chat, it's encouragement to be like, hey, we love you.
Yeah.
You can involve yourself or you don't have to. Duolingo, Lily, you said Lily would call you?
Lily,
Hola,
yeah.
Lily.
¿Cómo estás? Huh?
The app has like, I guess a phone call thing, and it's like this person will call you and then you have to speak to them
It's
obviously
not
in
really
Spanish.
a person. It's like an AI thing.
Yeah, but it's Lily.
No,
Hola, Lily.
I like Duolingo. I learned a lot, and I probably forgot it all because I haven't done it in a long time.
Well, if I spoke Spanish, I would work with you. What?
Art says my 5-year-old has a 117-day streak. Damn.
I mean, that's dedication.
Wait, you're 5? What's he learning? 5 years old on Duolingo?
That's amazing.
What a genius.
Yeah.
At 5 years old, I was like picking
Watching
my nose
wrestling.
and wiping it under the table.
Suck it.
No,
Was
that's
that,
not
was that
5.
older? Was that older?
Yeah.
But not that much older. Like 9?
Like 12,
Oh,
11 or 12?
no.
Maybe 10?
Yeah. There we go. It's getting
Not
close.
5. 5 wrestling wise.
You're-
When I was 5, that was like 93. It was tough times for the wrestling world.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't doing suck it at 5.
Well, that's good. That's bravo, kid.
I love my life. In the chat says the turnover stats were. Yeah, you're usually turnover stats are pretty ugly during the preseason. Portland had 20 turnovers, only turned into 20 points for Sacramento. Meanwhile, Sacramento had 27 turnovers that turned into 33 points.
Yikes. Yeah, that wasn't, again, in a lot of those turnovers, I think you're kind of testing, I keep saying testing your boundaries. Is that a fair
you're trying some shit every once in a while for sure, but you'd like to see it look a little more fluid.
Yes, cleaned up.
Oh my God. Got some breaking news from Yaz.
What?
Just wanted to hop in here and say the game concerned me. Starters played 30 minutes and similar issues from last year showing. Yaz, are you concerned or slightly concerned? Because we have the same message. I said that at the beginning of the podcast, but you're concerned. I'm slightly concerned. This is not a red flag. This is like,
put your red flag down.
like if I was sitting back in my seat, like relaxed, watching a game, I'm not like jumping up like, oh shit, we're panic mode. Like but I went like, here's me. I moved up like, okay. That's me right now. Sitting up in my seat a little bit, like, okay.
Someone else
something
in the
to
chat
watch.
says getting the bad juju out before the season.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's get to some final thoughts, Morgan Reagan.
Oh God. What was
Doesn't have
the
to be
question?
about the
Wait,
game.
what was the question that you've asked me the last 2 podcasts at the end?
Did anything that happened in this game make you feel differently about things going into the season?
Nope, the same, because I'm very balanced and I feel very level-headed when it comes to being rational.
So fun.
It is fun. I mean, it's not like I'm choosing to be this way. I'm just this way. And I think I mean, I'll be honest, when things like do look amazing, like of course there's irrational thoughts that go through my head, but then I like come back down to earth and I'm like, oh yeah, no, it was just a fun moment. Got my blood pressure going and it's like, oh, it's gone.
The thoughts that run through my head are wild. Because they are
can't
extreme
imagine.
thinking about it. I think at one point I was walking through the arena today and I was just thinking about the season. I was like, could they get 55?
Are you're
And then tonight I'm watching going, but what if like this goes like terribly bad? What would happen?
you're sicko
So here's what I
and
have to do
unhealthy.
is not think about what may happen. I don't need to project.
You need to talk to your therapist about this.
Well, I mean, it's good to think about the future at some points, but it's bad if you get too caught up in if it stresses you out. I'm not stressed out about it. I don't have anxiety about the Kings yet.
I'm not stressed out. Are you stressed out? Like,
I will admit that there are points during the season I do get anxious about things because I don't want chaos. I don't think anyone wants chaos or anything bad to happen. Even if you're like super critical of the team and like nothing makes you happy besides like only winning a championship, we can all agree that it doesn't feel good when there's chaos.
but chaos also identifies with your childhood, and that's why you really hate chaos.
I know you're my therapist, man.
I take off a mask.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
Chaos is
fair.
something that no, it definitely
It's
screws
fair,
with
but
you.
it's also like I don't know if it's as deep as that when it
Okay.
comes to Kings. I just think the Kings have had a lot. I mean, when in my life, they've had 10 winning seasons.
consistent.
I'm not
losing.
Yeah, they've consistently, and so
And it
like,
was chaotic
and-
for so
but
many
I'll
years.
say, and they were part of some of the happiest moments of my life, right? Like
Uh-huh.
when I think about those early 2000s teams, like I'm like, oh my god, like, so fun.
Yeah.
Thinking about the OG Bean team,
Yeah.
that was a fun year.
Oh,
That was
God.
a fun
That
year.
I can't even. I'll never.
Oh.
I'm so lucky that I experienced all the emotions I experienced that year, and I'll never forget it. I'll never take it for granted, and I just want to put it all in a bottle and just like
Yeah.
drink it up another year.
Yeah, can you? So where is a bottle? Because I would like to drink some before the season. So I feel really good. But yeah, I definitely want those. I think I crave that feeling, and it's not so much. I'm never one of those people that's like championship or it's a failure. Like I can enjoy
You're rational in that
a
way.
50 win
Yeah.
team and be like, and acknowledge the flaws in it too. But like, there is nothing like when your team is super competitive and if they could win 50 plus games, because when your team gets to that 50 win mark, there is a part of you that talks yourself into like, dude, if it breaks right, you never know.
I know.
You know, and that hope is so fun. Where like right now, everyone's kind of got hope. Like, hey, like the Blazers fans tonight, if you're listening to Bruce and
Joe Low.
Bruce and Low in Portland.
Okay.
Great. They do great stuff up there.
Bruce and Low.
Bruce and Low,
they're the
dude.
funniest.
Oh, Rip City, right?
Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
They educate, they entertain.
Dude, so good. Bruce and Low tonight. I can't wait to listen after this show.
Okay, go. What?
You know what they're thinking tonight.
What? Oh man, Scoot with the
Dude,
bounce.
we're tough.
I knew.
Here's the thing. This is the second year they're embracing Billups' culture. Billups wasn't even there tonight. He's in the Hall of Fame, and like, you just see the physicality. Like, Scoot, people are like sleeping on this guy a little bit, and like, he showed me something tonight. And dude, like, let's be honest about it. This is a Kings team that they did win 46 games last year.
And they tweaked the roster to make it better.
And like, they look like the better team, and people they're sleeping on. I mean, who's to say they're not a playing team? Could they surprise?
I don't like Bruce's voice.
If Jeremy Grant stays healthy, Scoot stays healthy, you get Simons back in the fold. Like, you can make a case.
By the way, really quick too,
my point is that there's hope in every fan base right now. It could break right,
sure.
But the hope of being like when you're really good and like, yeah.
We walked by Jeremy Grant in the hallway, and I'm like, "Oh, Deuce, that's your guy," and he goes, "Used to be my guy." Like, so dramatic as we're walking by. I'm like, God, quiet.
Yeah.
But yes, you're exactly right. This is the time for hope for a lot of people, and even for you. I mean, I've heard you talk about the two-way guys with so much hope, and I appreciate that so much. What?
I wouldn't say that. I'm not banking on that. I'm
not saying you are, but you definitely.
I'm intrigued. Like,
Slightly intrigued. Slightly concerned.
Slightly. Everything in the preseason with me, slightly.
Deal.
Slightly intrigued by them. Maybe they could be something.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Bilo and JC from ESPN 1430 in New Orleans. Yeah, I've heard them do that.
Oh, they've done it. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
We've done Bruce and Doe for a long time. Actually, I think it was Whitey Gleason who used to hit us up all the time
Yeah.
with that. I think
Was it Bruce and Low or Bruce and?
No, he said Bruce and Doe. I was just mixing it up with Low.
I mean, in 2016, Jason Ross came on the podcast and wore a Deuce and Mo shirt and crossed it
Bruce.
off and put Bruce.
Yeah.
Like we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. Good bit. Good bits.
Cute.
Yeah. Yeah. Final thoughts. Let me open up that old Beam team that you bottled up and let's take a little sip of it.
And sometimes it's just not available, and you gotta find that recipe once again.
Yep. Well, if you have thoughts on the game, you can drop them in the comments after the pod. You can also email us anytime. deuceandmo@gmail.com. Check out our website, deuceandmo.com. We've got new merch that we dropped that is awesome. I really love how it all turned out. We have our like OG stuff too, and shop in like the Beam shirts, but we also have new Deuce and Mo shirts that we had made. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, look, and there's a green one. Click on the green, please. Nope, to the right. Yep, there you go.
The green one.
I really liked that green. So anyway,
Yeah,
and
a little purple. Yeah, we got crew necks, coffee mugs, stuff for your kids too.
Oh.
And we'll keep working. We noticed the website. We understand we got a lot of complaints about the kid that is used as a model. Like, we don't control that.
We did not pay that child.
No.
Don't trust.
No.
Trust me. We do not use our kid.
We love you guys so much. But we got to go.
You all have a wonderful night tonight. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.